Alright guys, Level 21 here. I've had a very hectic month at work. All the work that we were supposed to have been doing this weekend got canceled except for one task. And it really sucks because all of that work could have been doing on the truck because I was preparing for this got cut. So what ended up happening with my Ram, what I ended up doing was, with the time I had to think about what I wanted to do with the Ram while I was doing that work, is that I decided to go ahead and just replace all the major electronics in the truck, which basically is now down to major modules. The one thing I want to replace before I determine if I want to replace other things is the engine harness. Now, I'm not too worried about the chassis harness because the chassis harness has no CAN system lines in it, and it's also water weighted. The chassis harness is meant to get wet, so it's got inserts inside of the pins to keep it from getting wet. But I'm buying a engine harness today. And I'm gonna have it's gonna be a used engine harness. For 3.6 liter. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get I don't know yet if I'm gonna get the occupant restraint module. If I can get one from a salvage yard from a truck that has not been in an accident, I'll go there and I'll get that. I'll find out. I'll have to call and see. But I'll go get that. If I get an occupant restraint module, I can put the seats back in it. And I can have all that back in. But the biggest issue is that I've got a couple modules that aren't communicating. Now, when I say aren't communicating, I mean these modules are not even showing up on your, like with my Altel, if it sees a module, it'll flash that module, flash an error. Even if it does not see that module, it'll flash it as no, wait, no, that's wrong. It'll flash as no communication. Is that right? I don't know. Before I changed remember when I was saying that all of a sudden my ABS stopped working? My ABS, it stopped reading? Well, I'm thinking that may have something to do with the engine harness, but I can't figure out where, because none of the CAN lines are shorted to each other. They're not shorted to ground. They're not shorted to positive. They're not shorted to anything. There's not an open circuit. There's nothing. I'm going to contribute it to, since all of the wires that does the communicating for all of that other stuff is on that side of the truck and part of the engine harness, I'm just going to replace it anyway. And here's the thing. The CAN lines for a Chrysler, especially for the Rams of this year, are 2.5 volts positive and 2.5 volts negative for the CAN system. Particularly the CAN C system. Well, on the transmission control module that has lost communication, and it's about 3.3 amps on the positive and about 1 point something volts on the negative CAN. So basically, it's not communicating properly. It's not getting the correct voltage back. And what I feel is that it's not pulling it all the way to ground, or it's not letting it go full 2.5 volts. And that excess is bleeding over. So, also the engine control module is also, the PCM, is also reading, It's also reading 3 point something volts on the positive CAN, and it's reading 0.6 volts on the negative CAN, or maybe the other way around, but those are the actual numbers. But let me see if I can get out here and show you guys where I am right now with the truck before I go. Oh yeah, I did go to the dealership. I don't know if I put this in my last vlog or not. It's been so long. I did go to, not the dealership, I did go to the salvage yard, and I did get the key that went to that RFH module, and I got the body control harness for the RFH module. For one, for one. Ooh, darkness. For two reasons. One was to find the key. Okay. One was to, because they were saying that I may have issues with the wiring for the front of my truck. I may have headlight wiring issues. Oh yeah, back to this. Yay! That was cheesy, wasn't it? But steering wheel's out again and all that. But that's because I have to pull the dash to get to the engine harness on that side. And I've been doing my testing. Well, actually, I'm done with testing now. But key in. Be warned if anyone calls me, because the Bluetooth now comes on when I have the key on, and it links directly to my phone. So if someone calls, that's coming up. But turn the key on. There you go. Now, everything that does not require a CAN system is operating, because when you turn it on, I don't know if you heard it, you can hear the actuators come on in the truck. That is the throttle body doing its prime. All right. Remember when I was having the issue with the cargo lamps not working, and they were saying, well, maybe it's the wiring harness that I cut and extended. Well, actually, I don't know, because I have it unplugged, I think. No, I don't. Okay. There are my cab lights. Can you even see that? Yeah, there are my cab lights. Cab lights work, so my wiring and soldering has no effect on that. Turn that back off. Hazards, which I think I showed you guys that the hazards actually work on the truck, but it wasn't turning on any lights. But all lights work. I guess I'll show you guys the front, because you guys can go like egg wall. Well, we don't know if the front ones work or not. Well, all those work. And because I'm actually using my phone, I can't actually turn the music on to the radio. But here's the thing, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are wanting to know. What about your issues that you were having where turn you off? Where if I turned it to park lamps, it would shut off after so long. And it wouldn't have, I didn't have any tail lamps when I put it in park. Well, tail lights are on. Park lights are on. I mean, tag lights are on. And there's no need to see the front, because they're still on, obviously. And those were the ones that were working. But when I switched it to main beam, I had no headlights. Well, guess what? We have headlights. Now, either because of the switch, I'm turning you off. Yeah. But what I was saying is that I want to get the engine control, occupant restraint module in here. I want to get that in here. I'm gonna see if they have one. I can get one put in today. If I put that in, I can put the seats back in it. The thing is that I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's the only module that requires that. But the thing is, I don't want to put the seats in it until I get the engine harness put in, because I have to pull the dash and I want the room. But so far everything is turning out great. I do need to unplug that. But everything's turning out great. I do need to put this this RFH module, mount it back into there. I've started taking stuff off the engine so I can take the spark plugs off. Oh my God, did Mopar put all kinds of plugs everywhere. Well, fasteners everywhere anyway. But that's where we're at now. That's what we got. That shit's sexy.